Say what? What's the subject? I want to start a 12-part series on the subject of, well, dying with dignity, really, by freedom of choice, when being able to recognize a person is sane of mind and may choose this during the Anthropocene, and who would do this. And by the way, this would be another sign of my having met my first Homo sapien. It's one of the criteria. It would be an Homo sapien would, of course, being connected with reality, would have considered or even attempted or would quickly accept if, being among a proto-society that allowed for this, assisted dying. Because, now, of course, it's possible that Homo sapien has achieved things that I haven't. Here in Canada, for example. In Canada, again, not the worst country in the world, but certainly not the best, and certainly, like all others, we're going to continue to devolve. We'll never make more progress of steps going forwards to connect to the modernity of our reality than backwards. There'll always be more steps backwards, like all others, because of, what I've been talking about in other videos, what's really happening with our species causing the Anthropocene. So I just heard on CBC News Radio 1 or whatever it's called. I'm fairly new to try to listen to those more often. And even if it's not subjects that I'm passionate about, I find they have good interviewers, good guests. They really go deep into the topics, even if it's some that I might not have been that interested in. I mean, then I might realize, that's an interesting take on it. How does that topic fit into, let's say, my theory? So one guest was Dr. James Downer with the University of Ottawa, where I got my bachelor's degree. That might be a way I might eventually succeed in getting a response from him, and I'm hoping that in this 12-part series on the concept of assisted dying, he would agree to be a guest. Okay, and there might be ways that his paradigms might change a little bit, getting to know me and what my life is like and why I would choose that. As related also to my ecocentric worldview. Now, what I was not finishing before is if I ever met an Homo sapien in the sense that they would meet every criteria, it's possible that Homo sapien, for example, lives in a part of the world where they can feel good about still being alive by not just doing things they enjoy, but being of service, which is not something that I have in my life here in Canada, but also everywhere else I've traveled in the world so far, which makes it, I'd say, you're a lucky Homo sapien. Can you help me? And probably they would, right? Probably the problem would be solved because another Homo sapien would be able to reference the life of another Homo sapien in ways that I can't even be sure that Dr. James Downer would. And I hope he still wants to. I'm going to send him this first one. I hope he doesn't say, I'm out of here, with that comment, because it's important to know that there are many ways to test for the true beliefs or values or intentions behind this complex topic. And this could be some of the topic with him. Like, for example, people that are against abortion, but let's say you present a scenario where, there'd be a law that says you can't get a vasectomy, and this would apply to a group that these people hate, then it's a way to kind of show their incongruences, their hypocrisy and things like that. And also, like, as a doctor, I didn't hear him say, for example, that there's a high level of percentage of people that have illnesses that are directly linked to how medical care in Canada is subpar. Like, one interviewer was from Quebec, and I gotta say, all my relatives are in Quebec, okay, and I still got plenty. Yeah, I don't say family, I say relatives. And I gotta say that if let's say I got an illness that's rare, and Canada is where there's specialists and a hospital then I would say, instead of shipping me there, let's save money, because the idea of being in Quebec again makes me want to now, fill out an application for assisted dying. So, you got to link your cultural failures to creating illnesses. Like, I don't think he also mentioned about decriminalizing drugs instead of saying, hey, you know, or even saying at the same time, let Martin give his life skills program and we will allow you to take these drugs in the meantime and see a counselor, whatever, and we won't arrest you. You know, but we have no respect for the quality of a human life anywhere around the world. And that's the topic. When medical care is so bad, even though science exists, and we don't discuss the greed, the elitism, and the failed paradigms that prevent the system from self-correcting, then yes, the government, the doctors are directly linked to people having shorter and shorter lifespans where they can enjoy a quality of life. I'd love to have a girlfriend I make love to. I'd love to have a library that will order comic books without my having to convince them or become unpopular, you know, so I don't have to buy them. I'd love to give my programs free of charge. I'd love to help somebody's property that has electricity by living in my motorhome with hardships, but still working outside with animals or doing stuff to fix things or clean things up. But I don't live in a society that wants to deviate a slight bit from the norm, even when I document win-win scenarios. So for an Homo sapien, even though I'm still capable of enjoying so many things in life, less and less are available to me unless I put pressure, and then suddenly they become even less available to me. Now, this pressure could be very, very light and documented to be so, making it kind of weird that I'm criticized for my fundamental human right to bring some quality and enjoyment to my life. Now, these conversations are not part of this subject, right? But they are part of what's interconnected with it. So some people might have, you know, also a very healthy take on the concept of mortality, which is also something we, pretty much all cultures of the world, have failed at. So this could be many, this is some examples, a start, and I'm going to send this to James Downer, and I hope that this video that is less than 8 minutes, that he will show enough care and concern to somebody that obviously doesn't have a dysfunctional mind that can communicate with him at an educated level, that he will watch this and respond to and play a part in at least one of these videos.